was the same story all over again. I had no choice but to suspend him.
I have no further questions. Mr. Murphy, would you like to cross-examine this witness?
Yes, Mr. Arbitrator. Ms. Curtis, when you spoke to Mr. Novak about these supposed violations of the rules, did he ever offer you an explanation?
Yes, it was the same excuse every day. He said that he had just come back from jogging, that he had to take a shower, and now he was going to have some lunch.
Did he tell you anything else?
I'm sure he did. He's not a shy person.
Didn't he tell you repeatedly that he worked during the cigarette and coffee breaks that the other employees took, and that he was actually at his workstation as long or longer than anyone else? Didn't he tell you about trading off other break time for jogging?
Objection, Mr. Arbitrator. He's leading the witness. Leading the witness is acceptable on cross-examination. We want to get at the facts. Please answer the question.
It's often difficult to separate the sarcasm from the substance of Mr. Novak's words.
The fact is, you really didn't give Mr. Novak an adequate opportunity to explain why he was late.
No, he did explain. I just didn't think it was an adequate reason.
In your mind?
Right. I'm a hospital supervisor, not a track coach.
I thought you wanted me to soft pedal the jogging bit.
I'm not so sure. You say it's doctor's orders.
Well, not exactly orders, but the chief of internal medicine said I should get some more exercise. I've been having some problems lately, and he said it was a combination of diet and tension. He changed my diet and recommended I jog before lunch. That way I could get away from the work pressure and get rid of the tension.
And Curtis knows about this.
Well, she knows I jog, but when I tried to tell her, she just ranted and raved and wouldn't hear any of it. She doesn't seem to like me at all.
One further question, Mr. Novak. Did Miss Curtis ever give you a direct oral warning that you would be suspended for 10 days?
Never.
I have no further questions, Mr. Arbitrator.
Do you wish to cross-examine Mr. Calloway?
Yes. Mr. Novak, you say you were never warned.
That's right.
Yet we've heard testimony here that you were given an oral warning on 2 occasions. First, let's talk about June the 7th. Now, that's 3 days prior to your suspension. Do you remember your conversation with Miss Curtis? At the time, didn't she remind you of an employee meeting in which the bulletin concerning work hours was discussed?
Sure, I remember. They wanted productivity. Well, I gave them productivity. I do more work and better work than anyone else there. And the jogging helps me to do that, Mr. Calloway.
On June 8th, did Miss Curtis tell you that your tardiness was inexcusable and that you would have to comply with the bulletin like everyone else?
She was after me that day, just like she's after me every other day. I never had trouble with the supervisor before.
Just answer the question, please. Yes or no? Now, on June 9th, were you late to your workstation? 10 minutes late?
I didn't take a coffee break.
Were you late?
Yes, maybe. Look, I've worked overtime the last 5 weekends because of the workload.
And you were paid for every minute of that overtime.
Well, Mr. Calloway, I think we've wandered off the point here. Let me ask the witness a question. Mr. Novak, on June 8th, were you late to your workstation?
Yes, sir.
On June 9th?
Yes.
Now, on June 10th, the day you were suspended, were you late to your workstation on that day, too?
No, sir. I was not late. I was at my workstation on time.
Thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Calloway.
You were at your workstation.
Yes, sir.
You were working at your workstation.
Well, no, sir. I was having my lunch, but I was available.
That's enough. At the time of each of these infractions, you were warned by Mrs. Curtis that if those infractions continued, you would be disciplined. And time again, you ignored it and did nothing. It's a wonder you even came back to work at all.
Objection. He's harassing the witness.
Mr. Calloway, you will have an opportunity to sum up later. Now, please continue with your cross-examination.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Novak, and answer me truthfully. What is there about your job that gives you the idea that you have the latitude to set your own standards of performance?
My job is difficult. It takes a special kind of person. I need slack. My job is to perform, not to jump when somebody yells jump. If you want a robot, hire a robot. If you want a good X-ray technician...
That's enough, Mr. Novak.
No, I find this very interesting. Mr. Novak, I want to ask you something about this jogging business. Do you believe that your personal desire to jog takes priority over your obligations to your job? Do you believe that the hospital is here to serve the employees or the patients?
Mr. Arbitrator, I'd say that question's irrelevant.
It's a question he can answer.
I believe it benefits both. Without physically and mentally capable employees, we can't do anything for the patients, for their welfare.
So you think you should be able to jog whenever you want, no matter what. How can you help the patients when you're not even there?
I think there are times...
I object. That's abusive. He's badgering the witness.
I have no further questions.
Do you wish to examine on redirect, Mr. Murphy?
Not at this time. But I would, Mr. Byron Hinkle, Chief of Internal Medicine.